It is just after 6, so I know we might have some people trickling in, but I'd like to get us started on time and keep things on schedule as much as we can. So please, if you could have a seat, we will get ready to begin. So, good evening. I am Tina Schneider. Many of you I know. Some of you are new to our school, and so I will hopefully get to learn all of your names very soon. But I want to welcome you to the 2018-19 school year for Cleveland Montessori. We're going to get started this evening by introducing our staff. That's not quite all of them, but they are sort of mixed in here with you, so I will introduce them by community, and they could stand when I say their name to get to know them. Okay. This year we are trying something different in the naming of our communities. Being in Little Italy and in the Alta House, we were trying to appreciate our neighborhood and our background, and so we've named each of our classroom communities with an Italian city name. So your children will be attending school in various cities in Italy this year. We have in our primary classrooms the name Bergamo, and Miss Monica and Katie are the instructors in that classroom. Next door to them is our Venice classroom, and in Venice we have Jane as our lead teacher. Emily is in the back there as an assistant, and Miss Sybil, who isn't here this evening, but she's also a primary guide, as many of you know, and she will be working with Jane and Emily in that classroom. Our aftercare staff for the primary aftercare is also Emily, who is just standing in the back. So she'll be staying with us through the evening or the afternoon. Our elementary team is in Milan. Where's our Milan? Miss Michelle is the lead guide, with Cheryl as the support guide, and Miss Carrie as the assistant. So they will be working just across the hall across from the library in Milan. The aftercare support for elementary will still be Sean Sweeney. So those of you who know Sean, he's been with us a number of years, and so he will be here starting on Monday for aftercare. Our adolescent team, I'm not sure if they make it up here yet, are in Rome. There they are. Diana is our adolescent coordinator, and Ray is the math and support person for the adolescent community. And with them will be Diane Hawney, who some of you may know was with the elementary classroom last year, but she will be teaching Spanish and acting in a support role with the adolescent community as well. Then we have our reading specialist, Katie Bodnovich. Is Katie in here? There she is. Katie hasn't named her space yet, but she's in the corner of the library this year. Our phys ed will be taught by Mike DeCenzo again. Marilyn Wright is here. She's in the back. She works with our elementary staff on with the Good Shepherd program. And our Spanish person for the kindergarten through elementary will be Christine, who's the same person as was teaching at the end of last year, but she's not here with us this evening. She'll be with us again. Jerry takes care of our building. Cheryl Serrano will act both as our office manager and as our before care person this year, and she is running around somewhere, I think, right now, so many of you will meet Cheryl. And then our administrative team would consist of myself, Kate Wright. Where's Kate? There's Kate. Kate will be our Director of Admissions and Student Services, so you'll be hearing from her for different programs and support for the students. Our business managers, Patty Nowak-Briggs. She is running around somewhere, I think, at the moment, but you will see her later. If you have any business that's not quite finished and need to see her before your child starts school next week, you will find that out later in the meeting, but Patty is here this evening and can help take care of any of those things that need to be finished up. We will have a speech and a psychologist on staff 1 day a week each. We have a speech person who was with us last year, Diane Weiner. She will be here on Thursdays this year. Our psychologist is, again, the same person from last year, Dr. Chris Butler, and she will be here on Mondays. So those are our main staff. I think I caught everybody. That's it. All right. So, again, welcome. You will get to know them. They will get to know you. They're very excited. They've been working very hard this past week and really many of them all summer, to get their rooms in order. And hopefully when you go around the building later and visit the classrooms, you will see the hard work that has been put into preparing our environments this year. And they are very eager for having to have children in them starting on Monday. So. All right. So I want to get the business out of the way, because I know that's the part none of us really want to talk about, but we have to. So I just want to really emphasize that if we have business with the office, to just really communicate. That's our big push this year. Please communicate with us. We get our feelings hurt when you don't respond, and Patty is giving multiple messages. If you have something that needs taken care of, we just ask that you communicate. If it means we have to make a new plan with you, if we need to help you find something, whatever it is, we just want to make sure you have everything in order for us to have your child here in the school. So, some of those things are really state mandated, so it's not just we're making these things up to make your life difficult, but if we need a certain form, if we need certain information in the files, please just cooperate with the office so we can get that taken care of, and that makes the rest of the year run so much more smoothly. So, just a little exercise for a minute, all right? So, please stand. Listen carefully to the question, because you might not want to stand if you're not really wanting to. Please stand if you are someone who has no stress and you are not a busy parent with one or more children. Anybody standing? No. Okay. Please stand if you like it when people reply to your message or your email the first time you send it. Yay. Most of you like it when somebody responds the first time. That's fantastic. Have a seat. Please stand if you like to be reminded or like to send a reminder multiple times for the same information or the same question. Nobody. Okay, so my point is, we all have stress. We all are busy. We all have things to do. We're all parents. We all have jobs. We all have after-school activities and committees and all kinds of things going on in our lives, including those of us who work in the office, who have jobs and lives and children and all kinds of stuff going on. So we just need to work together. Okay, we aren't trying to make your lives difficult. I know the stress that it takes when you go, oh my gosh, I'm getting that email for the 15th time. Just respond the first time or at least the second time. And that way we can take care of whatever the issue is and put it to rest and move on with all the other wonderful things that we have going on here at the school. So that's just our big request, especially from the office, but from the teachers as well, to just communicate with us. We want to have the conversation. We don't want to, I know that you will be expecting the same thing from us if you're sending us an email or requesting something, and we want to have that kind of respectful relationship with you. Okay? Enough said about that? Okay. That is that. Communicate. I'm going to see if I can make this work. My technology skills aren't great, but we thought this was kind of a fun little song to make our point.
So this is always my part of the segment. Those of you who know me would know that this was all me. But for those of you who are new parents, you'll see later also in your sign-up that I'm in charge of the drama club. So this should summarize that for you.
Communicate.
you too can YouTube that if you'd like to see the whole song. There are lots of songs about communication, but this was the liveliest one for a Friday night at 6 o'clock. So these are things that we know, again, for returning parents. You've heard this multiple times as well. And while we're talking about the importance of communication, we do need to remind you that between the hours of 8 and 4, your child's teacher is really not available because they're with your child. So those emails will be, responded within a 24-hour. Some of them have their signatures that says kind of when they're available also, so that you'll know what their lives look like outside of school, if they can respond before 7 or if after 5, really kind of don't expect to hear from them, so that you're not wondering why there's not a response either. And I know that some of you might have those kinds of things set up too, emails received after 7 p.m. will be answered the following day or something like that. And so just know that you'll get your bags tonight, but there's a communication folder. So if something's super important, then that's where you're going to get that message from the teacher, and where you're going to put your messages back to us as well if there's something that we need to know. And certainly, if something comes up during the day that absolutely needs to be, the message has to be gotten to your child's teacher, emailing your teacher at 10:30 in the morning, they're likely not going to see it till about 7 o'clock that night. And if they need to get picked up at 1 p.m. because something happened, that's when you want to call the main phone line. And Cheryl so lovingly, see that smile? I mean, look at her, honestly. How could you not want to talk to her when she answers the phone? That's how she is all the time. She's so joyful. So she'll get that important message to all of us who need it. And make sure, and certainly you can send an email to her as well. But picking up the phone, obviously, is the easiest way to know that your message really was sent and received. So that's the best thing to do in terms of those kinds of things. We know that, we used to be a paper society, and now emailing is our main form of communication. But we also want to be cognizant of the fact that none of us is really available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So to be respectful of those kind of timetables as well. And Transparent Classroom, for those of you who were here last year, you know that we switched our system over from a record-keeping system that was called Montessori RX. But Transparent Classroom is really much more parent-friendly as well as teacher-friendly, in that you have your own account and you get to log on and even see some pictures of your child or something that was going on, or a little note that was made, by the guide or by a staff person who might have observed something. And so you get to kind of get a little bit more glimpses into their days and things that are going on than we used to be able to do in the past. So we want you to use that tool as well, because it's a great way to be able to find out what's going on when you are at your work and wanting to check in as well. And then we have Visit the School, Fall Fest, and Run websites already up there. So Fall Fest we'll talk about a little bit more, so I'm not going to talk about that website. And we are still looking at updating our school website. We know there were some parents who started on that in May, and we'll get you all to reconvene now that our routines will be a little bit more back to normal. My picture's from about 10 years ago, and I have hair that's about an inch long, so I would like that one updated personally. But so we'll be updating the websites and things, but there's always information on there about what's going on. The calendar's on there. We now have that Facebook parent group, and I've noticed even on there people are like, hey, does anybody want to go to the zoo tomorrow? Or I need help now. Something just happened. Could someone help me with childcare and things like that? So we really do want to. We know that communicate and community have that same base word, and that's why the two really, they go hand in hand with each other. So and then obviously if there's questions about business things, you're going to Patty. If there's questions about program things, you're going to Tina. If there's questions about a student service that your child needs, because you're all through the admissions process now, then you'd be coming to me to talk about things. Maybe there's speech or OT or something that you need some more help with, and I would be helping to guide through those kinds of things that we can either do at school or help you figure out how to get it outside of school. And then for questions about your child, those go directly to the lead guide of the classroom. Again, though we all have wonderful relationships here as well, we don't want to put the the assistants or anybody in a position where they're not able to answer those questions, and that's challenging to do sometimes. So really those kinds of things about progress or behavior or things like that should go to your child's lead guide teacher.
Great. And then the last thing I'd like to add about that is just if you are needing forms, sometimes you need forms for your pediatrician or for an evaluation that you'd like to pursue for your child or something like that. If you're needing the staff, the teachers to complete some of that work, we ask that you give us ample time to do so. So, we can't get the form today and say, can you have this back to me tomorrow? Because the teachers want to have the ample time to really give some thought to those questions and give you the proper information to take to whomever it is that needs that. So just, we'll get it done for you, but just give us enough time to make that a valuable report. Okay. Let's see. At this point, I want to just talk briefly about drop-off and pickup. Is everybody able to hear? Do we need, I hate to say it, but do we need to turn off that fan at all to hear? Are you okay? You're okay? Okay. All right. Drop-off and pickup procedures. We have the car line system, just like we've done in the past. For those of you who are new, that means that if you're driving your child to school, you're pulling up right here along the 125th side of the building, and you'll pull up as far as you can. The hope is that our neighbors will cooperate, and they're not supposed to be parking along this side of the building at all during those morning drop-off hours or afternoon. So if you can pull up, the staff will be out there to help get your child out of the car and bring them into the building, and then you are free to head off to work or wherever you go from here. If you're walking to school, some of you are closer, or you choose to park and walk to the door with your child, then you would need to make sure that you're in the parking lot or don't park along that drive along the side of the street in the morning, because that blocks access for those who are just doing the drive-through drop-off. Same thing will happen at the end of the day. You'll pull up. We ask you not to start making that line too early, because we start blocking traffic for our neighbors. But if you start getting in that, pulling up and lining up on the street by about 3:10, around 3:15, we will start bringing children out and putting them in your cars, and we'll keep that running as smoothly as possible. You will receive this evening in your folders a name card that has your child's last name on it. You'll get 2 of those. We ask you to please put them in your vehicles. That will be the cars being used to pick up your child on most days. If you have an additional person, a nanny or a grandparent or somebody else who usually picks up also, and you need more than 2, just let us know, and Cheryl will make more for you. The best system that we found is if you attach it to your visor on your passenger side of the car, so that when you flip the visor down, we can see it through the front windshield. You can do that with rubber bands or clips or whatever, but that's the easiest way. That way staff can see whose car's coming next as you pull up, and it makes the system run a little bit more efficiently. So we'll ask you to please do that. In addition, we need to make sure that you have proper car seats in your cars. If you have children who are still needing car seats or booster seats, please make sure that whoever is picking up has those in their vehicle. We have a few extras here at the school that we can loan out as needed. If somebody, in an emergency has to pick up that you weren't expecting, they don't have a car seat, we can loan that to them. But staff cannot be responsible for putting a child in a car knowing that they're not getting into a car seat. That doesn't feel right to them, and it is, we want to be responsible for putting them in safely. So please make sure you have those in place. And if you don't have one for any reason, I would imagine most of you do, but if you don't and you need, we have a great community. If we put the word out and say somebody's looking for a car seat that they need permanently, I'm 100% sure that we would probably get one or many in a couple of minutes. So just let us know what you need. Getting here on time and getting picked up on time are important parts of our day. So we want to talk a minute about being on time. Our school day begins at 8:30. The car line starts at 8 o'clock to 8:20. So you have that 20-minute window to be able to do the car line where you're just pulling up, getting your child into the building, and then having them here in plenty of time to be in the classroom and ready to start their work cycle at 8:30. If for any reason that you don't make it here in that window by 8:20, then you would need to park, come in, and bring your child into the building. We don't want children just walking in on their own. So, if you have your 3 and 4-year-olds, you need to get out of the car and bring them into the building. We want them in the classroom by 8:30. So if you're just sliding in the door at 8:30, your child is still late getting to the classroom. And so what the teachers want me to stress to you is what that causes to the classroom. All of them try to start their work cycle at 8:30, which means at that point they have walked away from the door, which normally they would be at the door to shake your child's hand, say good morning, check in with them, and have them come into the classroom and have a nice smooth start to their day. After 8:30, they're going to start lessons. Children will be getting into their groups or picking partners and choosing their work. And when your child walks in after that point, they don't have that smooth start to the day. It's just not fair to them, and it's a disruption to the classroom as well. So we want everyone to have that opportunity to really have that one-on-one good morning with the teacher and get into the classroom, have time to settle in, make choices about how they're going to start their day, and be invited to those first lessons of the morning. So I can't stress enough what that means for us. So please, please, please set your alarm 5 minutes earlier if you need to, or 10 minutes, or whatever it needs, to try to make that routine run as smoothly as possible for your families and for the classrooms here in the building. Okay? All right. During car line, we would ask that you try not to engage teachers in long conversations, because again, we're trying to move that line as quickly as possible and avoid the backup on 125th Street. So if you need to talk to your child's teacher at the end of a day or in the morning, please park and walk in, or email them first and try to schedule a time and make sure they're available to have that conversation with you. They want to talk to you, they want to have those conversations, but we just need to make sure that it happens at the right time. So you're not feeling like they're brushing you off, because that's not the intent. But if there's they're trying to get the car line system moving, they just won't have time at that moment to really give you the attention that you need for that question. Now, as always, we like to start the year off with a little drama. So the other issue about parking on Monday and Tuesday, I have to announce, and I hope that this is not going to cause great stress for all of us, but the parking lot in the back and our side parking lot on Monday and Tuesday are not going to be available to us because they are repaving and resealing and all of that. While we were hoping to get that all done before the 27th of August, we are at the mercy of the contractor. So on Monday and Tuesday, you will not be able to get into the parking lot between 8 and 5, pretty much our whole day. Please be prepared for the drive up, for the drop off and pick up in that way. If you're needing to park and come in, there are some limited spaces across the street in the old Primo Vino parking lots that we can use, or if you're lucky to find a spot on the street around here or on Mayfield even. If you're really desperate to park and come into the building, you could even park at the church and walk up the street if you're needing to do that. But unfortunately, the parking lot will not be available for any of us on those couple of days. So just be prepared for whatever changes that requires in terms of our drop-off and pickup. Okay? All right. Yes. On Monday and Tuesday, we would. And yeah, and honestly, because it's the first week of school, there's a real good chance we would be doing that anyway, because we all need to get back into the routine. Do your best to get here with that in that window, but we're not going to, for that reason too. But we wouldn't be just sort of leaving you hanging on the first couple of days of school. Thank you. Okay, any other questions about car line, drop-off, arrival, dismissal at this point in time? Nope. Okay, moving on. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about our event. Rachel? Rachel is going to tell us a little bit about the new Fall Fest in Little Italy that parents have been working hard on planning all summer. We've got some great things in store. I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, I'm Rachel. If you don't know me, I have two kids that go to this school, and they're both going to be in the elementary classroom this year. What? Oh, I'm not really good at this. I'm not in drama. My kids are. I am not. We have been at this school since my oldest, who is 10 and in 5th grade, he started here at just about 3. I have been a part of our, before this, it was the Taste in Little Italy. I've been a part of that committee for probably the last 5 years. So this year, I decided to go big, and with another parent who is not here today because of a family issue, we kind of took it on together, along with several other parents who are part of the committee. If you guys want to stand up. So all summer long, we have been working and talking and emailing very late into the night to bring this. So this year we have made some changes. It is going to be at the Singer Steel Building, which is the same as last year. The difference is that we are going to, it's a family-friendly event this year. It's the first time that we've ever done that. It's going to run from 12 to 5. And on Sunday, September 16th, which there's no Browns game. So everyone should be happy about that. We have the adolescent community, yes, who is going to be in charge of doing the kids section, and we'll have a space for them for games and fun things. Also, we have our, this year we've also added live entertainment. So we are going to have several bands, we have food, and of course every fall fest, or any fest that has to do in Little Italy, we have wine and beer. So if anyone has any contacts that, or work in a restaurant, know an owner of a restaurant, we're always looking for new places. This year they also are going to get, they're allowed to sell, so it's going to be a little less to get in, but then you have to buy your food and drink, and that's how we're making it a little bit more family friendly.
Also, for a change, really your emails, you got them from Chris. You used to get them from me, but then we had all these parents say, no, really, we do want to help. And so you didn't have to get them from the administrator anymore. You got to get them from a parent, so thank you. Right. Or we'll do it together. But the old event, like you worked the whole event as well, we tried to break up shifts for this event so that you could potentially work the 11 to 2 shift and then still attend part of the event from 2 to 5, or vice versa, and come from like noon to 2 and then work with us from 2 to 6. So it'd be a way to come attend the event, still get in some parent volunteer hours, help meet some of your fundraising goals. And so really these suggestions about all these changes came from all of you in that May 18th meeting last year. So we know we'll have to tweak as this event moves forward, and that's after this year we'll have some more brainstorming and what went well and what can we improve for next year. But it's a brand new event, and so it takes more than ever that grassroots movement to kind of get it up and running.
Speaking of volunteering, we need someone who wants to go on a beautiful walk around Little Italy sometime in the next week to drop off some letters to the restaurants. Perfect. Thank you so much. And we've already contacted, so it's just getting there. I'm done. I'm done.
You done? You can just keep going, Rachel. Keep going. Okay, thank you. And I do want to thank the parents who've been working on that. They have put in a lot of hours and are making some great plans. So some of these things have already been mentioned, but if you're thinking, what is my role in all of this? Here are some things that you can be doing. sell the raffle tickets. This year our raffle is going to be the choice of a prize. The top prize is either a trip to Italy for two. It's custom designed by Travel Tours by Diana, Italian Tours by Diana, I think. Or you can choose a cash option of $2,500. So the tickets sell for $10 each. You can pick up raffle tickets here this evening. We have them set up in packs of 10. You can take 10. You can take several packs. Whatever you think you can sell. Maybe at your work, or you have a family event coming up, or whatever. But there's two great prizes to choose from. So the trip to Italy or a cash option. You can sell those raffle tickets, sell event tickets. And as Rachel mentioned, it's a $35 ticket. There's also a VIP ticket that's $70. We do have a website set up for all of this, so you might want to go explore there and see a little bit more of the details. But that's fallfestlittleitaly.org, so you can check out the website. If you have the potential to solicit ads or sponsorships from anyone, if your business or the place you work might want to put an ad in our program or display a poster or something at the event, we can help you with that. As Rachel mentioned, we are doing the wine barrel raffle, so we will ask if you have a bottle of wine to donate. You could bring that in during these first couple of weeks of school, and we'll collect them, and then the sign up for the volunteer hours. So all of those things will help us get this event off the ground for this year. During your enrollment interviews or during past meetings, we've talked about what we need from each family for fundraising, and we have that goal of $500 per family. The goal for you, hopefully, is that you can help solicit those $500, that you're not necessarily writing that check to us, but that by selling tickets, by selling sponsorships and ads, throughout the year you might be doing, we have those catalog sales, or there's a kid stuff coupon book that actually maybe you want to mention that's out here if you're interested in trying to sell those. So there are lots of different ways that you might be able to get some fundraising for the school. If you do want to just write that check and say, make my donation to the annual fund, that's fine too. But the hope is that you will be out there supporting and promoting these events with your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, and whomever throughout the year. And then the parent volunteer hours, we do ask every family to try to put in at least 20 hours during the school year. Some of that can happen again during this Fall Fest. Some of you have put in well over that 20 hours throughout the summer or throughout the year. And so we ask each of you to give back to the school in that way, even if it's coming to volunteer for the event, if it's helping with a rummage sale in the spring or the run that we have in May. There's lots of other ways to also volunteer throughout the year with your child's classroom, with going outs and field trips and our community events and activities. So you'll get lots of information in your emails, and as we mentioned before, email is our main way of getting this information out to you. So if we don't have the correct email or you're not getting them for some reason, please check in with us or check with Cheryl so we can make sure you have all of that information coming to you. And then when you see that email, please open it and just scan through and see what events and interests you might have in helping out with our activities here at the school. Cheryl is going to mention the process. When you do your volunteer hours, there's a volunteer book downstairs in the reception area. Do you want to talk about it, Cheryl? You want me to?
All right. So I'm the person that's probably sending the majority of the emails that you're receiving. But our parent volunteer book. So when you come in to volunteer, always make sure that you enter it into the book. Every family has 2 pages. One page is for your volunteer hours. So the first page under your family name is the volunteer hours. The second page is your fundraising page. We haven't entered. There are some families who have chosen to just do their fundraising through their SMART, and at some point we'll mark all those down. But anytime you do coffee orders or the kids stuff books, when we do the catalog sales, All that stuff will be recorded in the book. The volunteer hours don't always necessarily get recorded unless it's a meeting where we have a sign-up sheet, or sometimes from Sign Up Genius we can go from there. Although with that, sometimes people will sign up and then don't show up. So we don't always go by that because we just want to make sure that people are getting credit that are here for their time. If you don't come into the building very often because you're just doing pickup line, you can always feel free to email me any snack or laundry or any of those things that you're doing for your child's classroom, and then I will be happy to record them from you. I had several families last year that every week were sending me, hey, I did laundry, I did 3 loads of laundry. Anna knows. Anna's one of my regulars. And I don't mind it at all because we just want you to get credit for all the volunteer or any kind of things that you're doing for your classroom. So anytime you have any questions about any of that, feel free. And the binder will be in that shelf on the next to my desk.
Cheryl Lazar, are you here? Cheryl's going to mention parent social information.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Lazar, and I am a part of the Milan team, but I am also a parent. For those of you who don't know me, I have 2 boys, Xavier, who is 8, and Desmond, who is 6. And last year, with a couple of parents, Chris Bassett being one of them because she volunteers for everything, and another parent and I decided to schedule regular parent socials throughout the school year. And we kind of started that late in the year, but it was a huge success. And it was really wonderful to see parents outside of the building, being able to chat with them over an adult beverage or not, and have some food. And it was a lot of fun. And so I wanted to make sure to keep that going for this upcoming school year. So Beth Andrews has helped me as well this year, and Chris is going to continue to help. And we put together 2 socials already. So there is a flyer out in the library area on a table, so you can already save the date and get your childcare booked. We have one on February 28th at Bottle House Brewery, and then we have one on Friday, November 2nd at the Wine Spot. Both are from 6 to 8 p.m., and you don't have to stay the whole time. You don't have to drink. Just come for the social part of it if that's what you want to come for. And I will tell you, the last time we never left at 8. We were always still there. So even if you can't get there until 7:30, odds are there's going to be a handful of us still hanging out and socializing. And we really, really want you to come. Both venues have said that it is okay if we bring snacks. So if you're wanting to bring a little appetizer or something to share with the rest of us, we will do that. And hopefully we'll see you there. If you have any questions about anything, I put my email and Beth's email on here. If you are in town and have 0 family and 0 childcare and would really want to come but have no way to get your children taken care of, send me an email and I can ask around and see if we can find that for you so that you can join us, because we don't want that to be the reason that you can't come. And I'm also hoping that CMAC at some point during the year will be able to offer childcare in conjunction with a parent social as well. So hopefully that will happen. But these are just 2. Look for your emails and flyers and things about more socials coming up throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. And for those who don't know, CMAC stands for the Cleveland Montessori Adolescent Community. Those are 7th and 8th graders. And at this time, I'm actually going to ask those families if they could join Diana in the back. They're going to continue their orientation down in their classroom. Oh, the one thing I failed to point out, I guess, in the arrival, if your child is going to be absent, could you please make sure that you use there's an email specifically for attendance at clevelandmontessori.org. Please email that. That gives all of the administrative team the heads up that your child is not going to be at school, and we can make sure the teachers are aware of that as well. It also avoids Cheryl having to make that phone call at 9 o'clock when we're trying to figure out where your child is. So please just use that attendance email and notify us when those things happen, okay?
So one of the things also last year, I'll get it. Thank you. At this time, we were announcing, and though we recognized at the beginning of this night that all of us have different kind of stresses, we did announce last year at this meeting that one of our families was experiencing something a little bit more stressful in that the Brody family, who's been with us for a very long time, and Kate is actually a part of the Rome CMAC community now, and Alexis is a part of the Milan community, that Keith was diagnosed with brain cancer, and one of the most aggressive types of brain cancer. And though he had been approved for a trial medication, his body was not responding in a way where he was able to continue with that trial. And they just recently, in the past few weeks, found out that the other trial that they were hoping to get approved for, he did not qualify for. And so it's a big challenge for them. And last year, one of the things that we did as a community was we all stepped up and helped to pack lunches, because she didn't have to worry about that on a daily basis while she was dealing with medical appointments and all kinds of other things to balance and juggle, in addition to our normal everyday juggling. So we would like to continue that this year, to pack lunches for them. The first few weeks, the staff will take care of it, and make sure that the girls have their lunches, and we'll put out a Sign Up Genius. And for those of you who are able to provide and pack lunches, regardless of your community, we're all Cleveland Montessori community, and we'll make sure that they get their lunches, and so that it's just one less thing that they still have to worry about while they're figuring everything else out.
Thank you, Kate. Okay, so everybody who has a child in the adolescent community this year has gone downstairs, right? I don't want to leave anybody out. If your child is in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, you should be with that community downstairs now. Okay, these next few things, some of it's repetitive for those of you who've been here a while, so we'll go through it relatively quickly, but we just think that there are important aspects that we want to hit on and make sure that everybody's thinking this way as we start the new school year. So, of course, we want you to help your child get ready and be prepared for their school year. Hopefully, you might have already started to shift into a routine that is conducive to school. I know summer routines can get a little bit off, so as much as you can, you want to try to help your child get back into a routine to get some proper sleep, habits going. Make sure that they get up in enough time to get that healthy breakfast before coming to school. Develop that consistent routine that allows you to get here between 8 and 8:20 for that car line drop-off. And we always encourage, as much as possible, to limit that screen time, because we just know that developmentally it is best for your child to have limited time on a screen, and we want them actively involved in other things. You're packing your lunch for your children. Actually, I should say your children should be packing lunches for themselves. Even the 3 and 4-year-olds can be helping pack their own lunch. And doing that allows them to develop those habits of independence. It allows you to put things in their lunch that you know they're going to eat, because if they're helping to choose it, they're more likely to eat it rather than whatever the surprise is when they open their lunchbox in the classroom. So let them be part of the process. We want to help them develop healthy habits. There are detailed guidelines in the parent handbook about that, but the general rule is make sure it's a healthy, nutritious lunch. Avoid candies, snacks, sweets, and all of those kinds of things. The good rule is to look at ingredients. If high fructose corn syrup or sugar are in the first 3 ingredients, probably not one of your better choices. So try to avoid those things and help them choose things that are more whole foods and nutritious. We try to be environmentally aware as much as possible, so we try to use packages or containers that are reusable. Can help your child to try to encourage that and end up with less waste. And it ends up being more cost-effective most times for parents as well. So we want to really help you do things. All right? Anything about lunches? I'm speeding through lunches. Yes? Peanut butter is allowed. Now, I know that sometimes individual classrooms may have a student with an allergy where they've made that decision for their specific environment. School-wide, however, we have not made a no peanut butter rule. So If there's something specific to your own classroom, your teachers will notify you about that when you get to those breakout sessions. But as a school, that is not a policy at this time. Any other lunch questions? Okay, dress code is the other question that comes up. What to wear to school. As you know, we don't have uniforms. Sometimes you think that might be easier, but we don't. But we do have a dress code, which simply means we want your child to dress up in comfortable enough clothing that they can work without worrying about getting dirty, without worrying about crawling around on the floor. Even in elementary, children are sitting on the floor to work, sitting at tables to work. They're outside a lot. So we want them to be comfortable and properly covered, meaning not little straps on your shirts and things like that. And they want to be independent. So if you have a 3-year-old, don't put them in something that buckles and snaps and zips and does all of these crazy things that they cannot do themselves. Elastic pants, simple clothing that they can maneuver mostly independently are your best choices. One of our big things is this idea of what causes distractions in the classroom. So in a Montessori classroom, we work really hard at preparing an environment that is free of distractions. We don't have technology and screens in there because we want their hands working. We want them to be engaged with the environment and grounded in reality. So things that distract them from that sometimes are characters, talking about the movies, the superheroes, and all of these things that you might see on TV or in a movie. We would like them not to come to school. So if you have those shirts, make them in a special drawer so that that's what they wear when they get home from school, and that's what they wear on the weekend or other places that you may go. But at school, we would like to be free from those distractions. And it may be that you're thinking, well, what's the big deal? Even if your child is wearing the princess shirt and they don't, it doesn't faze them at all, there may be 3 other kids in the classroom who can't stop thinking about it. And that's what their obsession of the day is, talking about the princess movies or whatever it is. So, yes. Dinosaurs. I don't have a problem with dinosaurs. I don't know that teachers do. I think it's about, if it's about reality or fantasy is the big thing. Dinosaurs are real. They existed, though they're extinct now. If it's a cartoony character, however, that's a different kind of thing, right? Would you agree? It's a fine line, but my answer would be, teachers may correct me later, but my answer would be, if it's something that was, real, like a dinosaur, or it's an animal, it's a T-shirt from the zoo or something like that, that is just a lion or something, probably okay. But the caveat would be, if it does cause a problem in the classroom, your teachers will let you know about it and would request that you don't have your child wear it again. So if the other thing is things that beep and light up and, play music and everything, your shoes, child's shoes, the best bet is just get tennis shoes, a couple pair, one for indoors, one for outdoors. Try to avoid things that light up when you walk, because again, though it might not distract your child, the light ups or the beeps that happen when they're walking by 3 children working on the floor can cause a problem in the classroom. So we just try to be respectful of everybody's need for concentration by removing those distractions from the classroom. And please have change of clothes. Even your older elementary children, they get wet, they get messy, things happen in the classroom. So please make sure that they have that spare change of clothing at school at all times. Yes. Any questions about dress code that I just went through? Okay. All right. I'm going to go through these kind of quickly. You will get an emailed copy of the parent handbook that will come to you, so please make sure you have that. We'll also post it on our website, so you'll have access to it that way as well. So just take a few minutes to read through that and look at the policies of the handbook. The Smart Tuition account, you probably have talked with Patty about. That is to help with any payment of tuition and your fees. So all families need to have one of those. If you have trouble with that or have any questions about that, Patty will be available after the meeting. Aftercare, we just ask that you, if you're not in regular full-time aftercare, you please call or notify the office. You can use that same attendance at Cleveland Montessori email to request that your child stay in aftercare if they need to stay tomorrow or then, a couple of days or something on that flexible aftercare plan. We just need to know a little bit in advance so that we make sure that staffing is appropriate and we don't end up with 20 children in aftercare unexpectedly and don't have the staff for it. That's a question. The question was, is there a pickup line for aftercare? And the answer is no, there is not. So after 3:30, our pickup line goes from 3:15 to 3:30. After 3:30, any child who is still here and hasn't been picked up for any reason would go to aftercare, and you would need to pay for the aftercare for that day. But when you're picking up from aftercare, you can park and walk into the building. You will sign out with either Emily or Sean, depending which level your child is in. Usually around 5:45, they will start getting children ready that are still here. So that last 15 minutes, they're usually ready for you, around the door and around the entry, and they'll kind of watch for you to come in and be able to help expedite your dismissal when it's closer to 6 o'clock. But otherwise, they'll either be in the library if they're elementary children, in the Venice classroom if they're primary aftercare, and often they're in this gym at some point during that aftercare time too. So you may find them in those different locations. Okay. We've mentioned the attendance email already. We've talked about lunches and we talked about dress codes. One thought that the staff wanted me to make sure that I remind people of too is often you might be at the playground after you've picked up your child. You may go to the playground and the aftercare students are there, or if it's at lunchtime in your 11:30 pickup, you go to the playground with those children who are still in school. We just request that you help your child follow the same rules and expectations that are expected during their time at school, so that while they're there with other children that are still under our supervision, they're all still following the same rules. And the other reminder is just, if your child is sick, please keep them at home. While it's inconvenient sometimes, and we understand that, if you look to your neighbor and ask them the question, would you mind if my child is with your child, if they have a fever and they have a stomach virus? Is it okay that they still come and hang out with your child at school? I'm guessing the answer from most of you would be, please no, don't do that, because my family doesn't want it as well. So please be respectful of everybody, in addition to knowing that your child will recover more quickly if they're not still coming to school and trying to push through when they really should be at home in bed. So please help us keep the rest of the community free from any of those communicable things, because they do tend to quickly spread in our environments because we have children in so many different classrooms. You have siblings in a primary classroom and an elementary, so when it hits one family, we quickly can spread it to everybody. So we ask your help in keeping us all healthy this year. Okay? I don't know why that cut off there, but again, we just want to be on the same page. So communication is key. We want to have a strong community that's parents and staff working together. So please communicate with us, and we'll ask to have some consistency between what we're trying to do here and what we're hoping that you're trying to accomplish at home. We hopefully share those same values and same expectations, and staff will help you and guide you and give you some recommendations for home. If you're needing some suggestions or needing help in a certain area, they're happy to talk with you about it. But it always works best when we're all on the same page and not having conflicting expectations when we're here and then when your child goes home. And that includes when you're arriving and leaving at the end of the day. Coming into the building ready for their day means not yelling and screaming and hopping and jumping down the hall. But if they're walking with you, help them to walk with you and use a calm, quiet voice and enter this building and exit the building with those same kinds of grace and courtesies that we are trying to instill in them throughout the day. So we're all here for the same reason. We have your best the best interest of your children in mind, and we want to work with you and be partners with you on that. You can get lots of information by asking us what to do. You have the parent handbook. Find a returning parent. When you go to your breakout sessions, you'll see who those people are who've been here a year or two or several. They're happy to answer questions for you as well, so seek out the advice of those parents who've been around for a while. Ask the staff. We will offer a variety of education opportunities throughout the year, parent coffees or evening events that help you to better understand Montessori and what it is that we do here and some of our values. So we encourage you to come be involved in those and get involved in a committee or planning for the events, and you'll get lots more information again about that with Sign Up Geniuses and other ways to indicate what your interests are and how you might give back to this community. So we want to hear from you, get your suggestions, and have you be part of all of what happens here. You should have a calendar already. Keep that calendar handy for any upcoming events. Put it in your phone, mark it on your work calendars, whatever you need to do so that you know what's coming, so that you're on top of it. And you'll get emails every week. And again, if we don't have the correct email, please make sure we get it. But you should expect every Friday, usually, sometimes we get it out a little early depending on what's happening. So Thursday or Friday of each week, an email that gives you any updates, things coming up, reminders, events, ways that you can help, or just great information that we want to share with you. So please use those emails and ask questions when you get the information. Okay? So we're ready for another exciting year.